In the first chapter of the Class 10 English textbook, First Flight, we are introduced to the story titled A Letter to God. The story revolves around the themes of faith, belief, and human nature. Let's delve into the narrative and explore the key events and characters in this captivating tale. The story begins in a small village where the protagonist, Lencho, resides. Lencho is a hard-working farmer who relies on the fruits of his labor to sustain his family. One day, a disastrous hailstorm wreaks havoc on his crops, leaving them completely destroyed. Overwhelmed by despair, Lencho decides to write a letter to God, seeking his divine intervention and financial assistance. Lencho pours his heart out into the letter, expressing his faith and pleading for help. He writes about his dire situation and the urgency of his need. Lencho concludes the letter with a request for 100 pesos, the amount he believes would be sufficient to restore his farm and support his family. Although skeptical about the effectiveness of sending a letter to God, Lencho remains hopeful. He entrusts the letter to the postmaster, who finds it rather amusing. The postmaster, amused by Lencho's naive belief, shares the letter with his colleagues, who also find it amusing. However, one postman is deeply moved by Lencho's letter. Touched by the farmer's unwavering faith, the postman decides to take action. He collects money from his fellow employees and manages to gather a substantial amount, close to 100 pesos. The postman then sent the money to Lencho, along with a letter signed God. When Lencho receives the envelope, he is filled with joy and gratitude. He opens it with trembling hands, hoping to find the requested money. However, upon counting the contents, Lencho is devastated to find only 70 pesos. Disappointed and disheartened, he is convinced that someone must have stolen the rest of the money. Lencho cannot fathom how God could have betrayed his trust. He believes in God's benevolence and expects nothing less than 100 pesos. Unwavering in his faith, he decides to write another letter to God. In this letter, he expresses his disappointment and urges God to send the remaining 30 pesos as soon as possible. Lencho once again entrusts the letter to the postmaster, who is now aware of the postman's benevolent act. The postmaster, realizing the impact of the first letter, decides to take a different course of action. He gathers his colleagues, and they all contribute to raising the remaining 30 pesos. They enclose the money in an envelope and send it to Lencho. A few days later, Lencho receives the second envelope. He opens it eagerly and finds the money he had requested. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Lencho exclaims that God has indeed sent the money. He believes in the divine power and the miraculous fulfillment of his prayers. The story concludes with the postman and his colleagues reflecting on Lencho's unshakable faith. They are amazed by how someone so simple and humble can possess such unwavering belief. The postman realizes that even though he and his colleagues played a part in the act of kindness, they were mere intermediaries between Lencho and his unwavering faith in God. The story A Letter to God beautifully portrays the themes of faith, belief, and human nature. Lencho's unshakable faith in God's benevolence serves as a reminder of the power of belief and the resilience of the human spirit. The story also highlights the importance of empathy and compassion, as demonstrated by the postman and his colleagues. In just a single letter,